Lately, I've been asked a lot about what it's like being a TV news reporter as three historic crises converge: COVID-19, the swift decline of our economy, and outrage at the killing of George Floyd. The best way I can answer this question is to let you take an unfiltered look at footage from my career as these events collided. But before I do, I want to say how much my heart goes out to those who have fought COVID-19 and lost loved ones to it. Those whose lives have been upended, jobs lost, and businesses destroyed in attempts to flatten the curve of the virus.
This is a really hard time. A lot of businesses are closed.
Those who have suffered lack of respect and loss of freedoms merely because of the color of their skin. Those who have been the innocent victims of their rage.
We all brothers and sisters. I don't care what color skin you have. We still the same.
And those who have faced more than one of these tragedies.
Our gates is torn down, God, and the walls are on fire, God. We will no longer be the victim, but the victor.
When an 8-minute, 46-second iPhone video showed a black man with his head smashed into the pavement being killed by a white police officer, it went viral. A nation that had been sheltering in place for over 2 months and suffered dramatic economic damage was furious. Thousands took to the streets despite concerns over social distancing and other COVID precautions. In Buffalo, this incited heartfelt, peaceful protests filled with declarations that Black Lives Matter, songs calling for justice.
What we gonna do? What we gonna do? 500 years later and we still go through.
And shared moments of respectful silence for victims of racial hatred. People of all ethnicities joined in. Sadly, there were also violent protests, often following the peaceful ones. Cherished monuments were defaced, windows were broken, property was stolen, fires were set, and people were harmed.
I love this monument. I love City Hall, and seeing people smash windows and light things on fire, it was sad. I honestly thought Buffalo was better than this.
On the first day of the Buffalo protests, after reporting for hours, I returned to the station to write my story and edit together the footage. Suddenly, our news director advised me to go home. The police scanner warned that a mob was moving down the street where I lived. While stopped at a light half a block from my apartment, I could see the rioters in my rearview mirror. I barely got inside my building before they reached it. Throughout the night, sirens screamed beneath me. Helicopters circled overhead, and people on the streets yelled. At one point, I smelled smoke and looked outside to see a parked car beneath my window engulfed in flames. I called 911 and then captured this footage on my phone. I don't think I slept at all that night. As I drove to the station the next morning, I saw vandalism everywhere. I was assigned to cover it.
Driving into work this morning, it felt very apocalyptic and really scary just looking around knowing that, not only is everybody all cooped up and worried about virus stuff, but now you've got even bigger problems.
I am a multimedia journalist. This means that I often work as a one-woman crew, filming, interviewing, writing, and putting the entire package together. That day, my job was more challenging than usual. I was yelled at simply for being a reporter, and someone shoved his hand in my face. My experience was shared by other reporters. When my coworker Stephanie Dupre went live, she was heckled and film bombed. She handled it all like a true professional and gave me permission to share this footage captured by someone watching her report at home. Now, on the flip side, many people went out of their way to support us. One business owner came out of his store and offered to stay by my side to make sure I was safe. Another brought me food from his cafe, explaining that he had seen how hard I was working and thought I must be hungry. A third walked a block and crossed the street just to thank me for my coverage. A few days later, we all geared up for another night of mayhem when a thunder, lightning, and hailstorm hit Buffalo. As protesters and vandals retreated, many reporters slept for the first time in days. But the peace was short-lived. By now, you all have probably seen this video. It shows 2 Buffalo police officers pushing a 75-year-old protester to the ground, and it made waves around the world. I was assigned to cover the officer's arraignment and teamed up with Casey, one of our photojournalists. While I was inside the courthouse, he stayed outside to get footage of the officers showing their support for law enforcement. Partway through the arraignment, Casey texted me saying that he was trying hard, but people were holding blankets, sheets, and open umbrellas in front of his camera to stop him from filming. The arraignment lasted for 4 hours. Before I got out, Casey was relieved by Allison. I met up with her at a press conference with District Attorney John Flynn.
I'm on this country's side. That's whose side I'm on. I'm on justice's side. And all I'm doing is my job.
While there, I received a message that we would be doing several live reports directly following Flynn's remarks. They were for our station and network national news. The presser lasted so long that Allison and I only had 15 minutes to walk 3 blocks with all of our equipment, get set up for our live hits, and film 3 different versions of a 3-minute report. I'm Katherine Chloe Cahoon outside of Buffalo City Court, where 2 officers pleaded not guilty to felony charges. I only had as much time to prepare for each live hit as it took Allison to adjust her camera settings.
Spectrum News reporter Katherine Chloe Cahoon was in court this morning as the officers were being arraigned virtually.
In breaking news situations like those, you have to think on your feet as the facts unfold. Now to recap, these 2 officers did plead not guilty to second-degree assault, which is a Class D felony. They will be back in court on July 20th. Allison and I were told that we were the first nationwide to give the live television report. We really couldn't have done it without the help of our wonderful producers back at the station. That weekend, I was assigned to cover what was described as a small, peaceful protest. The peaceful part of the description was definitely right, but that was no small gathering. Thousands converged on Buffalo's Niagara Square.
No peace! No peace!
I was thankful to have Dom as my photojournalist. Everyone there was kind and welcoming. We did our reports at the heart of the protest, and they thanked us for coming. I'm Spectrum News reporter Katherine Chloe Cahoon. Sunday afternoon, the streets of Buffalo filled with people. Kevin Bryant and his cousin were among the protesters. They stayed up late Saturday night putting together brown paper bag lunches for the event.
The reason why I chose brown paper bag lunches again is because it was used as a tool to basically gauge how black you were or you weren't in some instances. So what I chose to do was just basically take these brown paper bags, which were the tools used to oppress us, and now I'm using them to educate.
The bags contain messages of justice.
Along with the good food, there's good hands behind it that prepared it, and these are just some of the things that we've gone through. I just want you to basically just know us. Just get to know us.
Buffalo is located on the shores of Lake Erie. There are so many beautiful venues here. Usually during the spring and summer, we have festivals every single night, and the whole town comes together. This is my first year here. All of the festivals have been canceled due to COVID-19. But the people of Buffalo have more compelling reasons than ever to come together. We are all needed to fight this virus. We are all needed to rebuild our economy. We are all needed to abolish prejudice and build respect for every person, regardless of race, belief, or cause.